All right, everyone. So right now we are speaking to one of the guys inside of the first class setup program. Mac, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, what you do, and then yeah, we'll go from there, man.
Hi, my name's Mac. I'm 21 years old, and I've been an appointment setter for, well, it was kind of about a year, but with Sergio, 5 months now, maybe four.
Yeah, yeah. I
Give
want
or
to say
take.
it's
Anyway, I
yeah,
think it was July I joined, and it's now November, so do the maths, I
yeah.
don't know.
And yeah, bro. I mean, within that time frame, you've had a pretty massive change, and
Yeah,
couldn't be more happy about it, dude. So, uh, basically, honestly, what we're gonna be kind of talking about here is like the obstacles you went through. I mean, what you tried before in the past, where you're headed now, because obviously, like you get to a certain level, you have a bunch of doors open to you, right? And it's just like a natural
yeah.
thing that happens, which is something like a lot of people don't really think about. So, yeah, man, I guess we can start at like where you originally started in the online business space. What did that look like for you?
Well, it was a long time ago. I think I tried an SMMA about 2 years ago. 3 maybe years ago. Didn't really work, didn't really put much effort into it, but you just kind of seen, I think it was quite glorified at that time, so you thought like it was just easy. And then turns out it obviously wasn't. Then I think kind of stopped a bit of online, just kind of started, just was just working. Then tried to get into drop shipping, didn't work. Then just done trading, didn't really work. Then went back to drop shipping, and then tried Etsy drop shipping. Made
Mhm.
some money from that, but it wasn't sustainable because my account kept getting banned and everything. But then I actually invested $1,000 into a appointment setting course, give it call it that. But that was just a scam.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was just a complete scam. They basically put you on an offer, but it was just to bring more people into their offer, and then but it was just a scam. So
Yeah. Like a whole
then
pyramid thing almost, right?
yeah, it was just a pyramid scheme. Like it was like an MLM.
Yeah.
Then obviously that wasn't good because it was like £1,000. It's quite a lot of money at that time. And then I think I just kind of what happened after that? It just stopped. Tried and actually tried a cleaning business that kind of worked, but then realized that I prefer working online and remotely and being able to
Yeah.
work where I live. And then
Yeah.
seen kind of your I don't know. I think it was just you. It might have been your YouTube that popped up, or because I googled YouTube appointment setting,
Mm.
maybe, and then seen you, and then kind of I followed you, and then started seeing your stuff, and then jumped on a call, and the rest is history.
Rest is history, man. And I think, dude, something really important to like unpack out of that entire thing for you is like you were not necessarily stopping. Like you were
No,
going over next business model to the next one to the next one. And I think funny enough, man, like I made a video, I think it's like the last video on my channel where I kind of talk about like just this like mind shift, this mindset shift that you have to make it in this space.
hmm
And I kind of like you used you as an example and I didn't really name drop, but I was really referring to like the gritness and the relentlessness that it is that you had, right? Because it was drop shipping, it was SMMA, it was a cleaning business, it was appointment setting, but that didn't even work out. And all in all, like correct me if I'm wrong, but you had the feeling that most entrepreneurs have of, you know what, like it's just gonna work when it works, and I don't mind going through the actual like dirt and just getting dragged through the mud, right? Like, would you
yeah,
agree?
yeah. Like I knew there was no really other option. I knew that myself that I couldn't work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, and I knew eventually, like, because everything compounds. Like what you do, like you at least learn one thing, and it kind of compounds, and that will kind of benefit you in the future anyway. But something's going to click eventually, and then it will start working. So that was just the mindset. I just trying different things, and then one thing eventually worked.
Yeah. And sometimes, dude, what it takes is like for you to go out of your way to like get resourceful, right? Because a lot of people, they're probably in similar situations that you were in, right? Like you eventually had to go and work like the traditional 9 to 5 and whatnot. But it didn't stop you from getting resourceful and trying to find help wherever it is that you could, right? So,
Mhm.
for example, the whole like appointment setting thing with whatever program or like
Yeah.
course, whatever that was, didn't necessarily work out. but you got resourceful and actually tried to make that happen.
Hmm.
And same thing like with myself, right? It was kind of something we had to kind of look into as well. And I think you told me over messages when we were talking about it, but it was more so like under the mindset of like, you know, you obviously felt the whole genuineness from my part to actually help
Yeah.
you. But
Hmm.
on the flip side, like for you, you knew whatever it is that I have to keep doing to gain more information, to gain connections, to gain a network, like it's gonna pan out eventually. That sound kind of
Yeah.
accurate with you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, man. I agree. Honestly, I can like wholeheartedly say that, which is why like it's a really cool story like I like to refer to because I literally went through the same thing, right? Like I was working a 9 to 5, didn't have the utmost savings, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people do, but I always say on sales calls, right? It's like it's the whole lack of finances is never an issue. It's lack of resourcefulness, right? Like it's
Hmm.
really all it comes down to. So you made it happen, man. And before you actually joined, or actually when you decided to pull the trigger, you were working at like a warehouse type of job or like a driving delivery type of job, correct?
Yeah, so I was an engineer for 4 years, but then I left that because I knew that something soon the online stuff was going to work, but then it didn't kind of work. It didn't pan out as well as it does because I was a bit optimistic right enough, but I just quit that, had some savings, then that's when I started the cleaning business, had some money from that, but then that wasn't as busy, and then I knew I wanted to start online, so then that's when I seen you. I was I just started working with Amazon, just like
Hmm.
3 4 days a week.
Got it, dude. Yeah. And I mean, obviously things have changed completely, and that's one of the things that
Yeah.
we really want to highlight here. I guess honestly, what we can do is, yeah, just go down the route of like what has happened within that time frame. So you can kind of go into details in terms of like earnings you've made, the actual
Mhm.
like business it is that you're working with, the skill set. We'll just kind of go down that direction. So let's start there. Like what did you use to make per month, right? Working at like Amazon, like you mentioned.
Probably under probably £1,800, so $2.3 maybe.
Yeah.
That's kind of yeah, that was kind of that was all I kind of that was but I think the most amount of money I ever made was like £2,200
Mm.
in one
And what about
month.
now? How much are we talking now?
The last month, £5.2, so $6.5K.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you guys who are in the US, that's borderline $7,000 US right there.
Yeah. It's
Um,
just $6,567 or something.
yeah, yeah. Well, dude, I mean, that's a huge transformation. And I mean, most of all, like the biggest aspect, honestly, like why I tell people to kind of go down this route, has to do with like the whole freedom aspect
Hmm.
at the beginning, right? It's like the money is cool. The money will come eventually. 10K a month, I know for a fact for you, not that far off, right? But talk to me about like what the difference was between when you were working like the Amazon job and whatnot versus when you were full-time in appointment setting, actually started bringing home commission. What was the difference in terms of like how you were living in general?
Oh, it was unmatched. So obviously when I was working for Amazon, that was like 9 hour shifts, and then you're driving an hour there and back. So that's like 11 out your day. And then obviously you still need to try and go to the gym. So most of your days just work. Then eventually when I went full time, like I think I went full time like 3 months into starting with you, which is pretty crazy. And then as soon as I went full time, because I work in American hours, so my morning's quite free. So I don't start work usually till sometimes like 5 6 p.m. my time. So
Mm,
I've got the full like morning and afternoon. So I just spend like just wake up, like chill,
just do
um, and
whatever it
then
is you
just
want to
I
do.
go to the gym for like 3 hours, and then come back and then eat and then do a bit of work. So I think
Yeah.
it's like the life, like it's crazy. But the main thing I wanted to go into appointment setting was because obviously the freedom, and then there's so much more freedom to learn other things as well.
Mhm.
So you can go
Right.
into like another industry if you want or whatever.
Yeah. And this is huge, man. Like this is one of the things I like, I always kind of told all of you guys who like joined around the time that you joined was like appointment setting is cool. Like it can give you the aspects of the freedom and a little bit of the lifestyle that you're kind of looking for. But
Yeah.
what's even cooler is the doors that it ends up opening up for you, right? So just as an example, like another one of our student is like working on like done for you appointment setting systems for business owners. So now he's like offering his own thing. Your particular situation, I'd imagine you have like the world in front of you. Like you have I mean, we can kind of get into the specifics of what you have in mind, but just at the top of my head, I usually say like a client success manager or a closer or
Yeah.
a setting manager, whatever that might be. So, what is it that you have in mind? Like, obviously, not thinking too far in the long term, but any like next steps that you want to kind of look to crush?
Well, I will eventually. Well, we'll be taking on more setters, and then I'll be the top setter, just kind of managing them. So and then that'll come with base pay as well. So
Mm,
that's kind of more money as well. But
yeah,
yeah, we'll kind of just be managing other setters as soon as we get to that point in time. But right
yeah.
now, it's just kind of me. But like it's just easy. It's just so easy.
And I think it's easy because number one, like you get the skill set, you get real hand experience, and then you make
Yeah.
commission in return. But number two, the biggest aspect that literally everybody looks over, which is why a lot of people just like soullessly do cold DMs, and instead of focusing on this main thing, is building a network. So
hmm
now that, for example, you have worked with the business owner you've worked with, how has that been? Like working with him, and
Oh,
how beneficial do you feel it to like the entire journey is what I'm asking.
it was amazing. It's unmatched to be honest, but it's working with somebody at such like a high level as well.
Hmm.
Like we have a call every like once a week, but it used to be quite like a few times a week, and I would just be a sponge, like because obviously to get to the level he's at, you've got to know a lot more stuff. So there's even just stuff about like tracking like your income and spreadsheets, and like there's just so much you can learn from a business
Yeah,
owner. And obviously there's like it depends what niche you're working in, but I'm working in fitness, so and I'm quite into fitness myself, so I've learned a lot and even get put through the coaching myself for free.
right. So
It's
most of the
like,
time you're just gonna get the program for free anyways.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Like,
yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, I know a lot of people that watch just YouTube in general, right? You might consider yourself as somebody who like was in this particular vehicle about 5 months prior to joining this program. It's like there's a lot of beauty and a lot of like luxury in building your own business, right? Like building up your own offer and like going to the market and just doing a bunch of outreach until you land your roles. But like I would argue, and more specifically, utilizing your situation, it's like instead of like going about those situations where you were trying to build an SMMA or a drop shipping or a cleaning business, had you saved that much time and you would have just dove deep into this, I mean,
yeah,
you probably would have had your own offer at this point, right? So,
yeah.
um, like, what do you think about that, man? Because I'm not sure if you specifically had this idea in your mind, but I know a lot of people do who at least watch the channel where they have a little bit of a sense of ego of like working for somebody because I don't consider like working for somebody in this particular space as it is in the corporate world, right? In the corporate world, when you have a 9 to 5, you have a boss, they're just kind of like shitting on you. They don't really respect you. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I get what you mean. Like, it's obviously good to have your own business and all that, which I kind of thought like, because it is glamorized on like social media and all that, like having your own business, and then there's so much more money. But especially when you're starting off, like the leverage you can have if you just get into working for somebody. But it's not really working for somebody because I would still class as the offer owner as like my client, if you know what I mean. Because he
Mm,
needs you, and then obviously you need him for the offer. But once you get to a point, then you've got your network, so you can just get another offer if that's the case. But I would
yeah,
definitely start off like working, getting your feet wet and
yeah,
appointment or something like that. Because then
right.
obviously you can get income, online income, learn whatever your passion project, and then funnel the money into your passion project while you're still
Yeah,
working for him because you only need to work five,
right.
4 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like building a business is hard enough already. Like it's
Yeah,
really
it
hard, right?
takes a
And
long time, especially if you're in a
yeah,
situation you want to be in. Building a business is going to take you 2 years to maybe even get out of it.
yeah.
So if you want a quick exit, it's definitely better to.
Yeah, and that's why the whole idea of really just replacing whatever an income it is that you need is probably going to be more valuable because you think about it this way, you're working a 9 to 5, you spend 8 hours there, you only have about like 4 to 6 hours if you're,
Mhm.
somebody who works hard to build a business where you have to wear all the hats. Now, like I knew that that wasn't going to be feasible, so the way I went about it was I just quit my 9 to 5 and I had savings, right? Obviously, that's super risky. So I
Yeah,
don't really like recommend anybody to do that. But instead is like just, work your 9 to 5 and just replace that income so that you go full time with setting and you really only have to work about 4 to 6 hours maybe with setting. And then, like you mentioned, you could just funnel that money over to like what it is that you actually want to build later on down the line. So, yeah, that's probably going to be your best bet if you're looking to get into this space. Um,
yeah.
yeah, cool. What do you think about the actual like I guess training material in terms of like me helping you get to the point where like you know exactly what it is that you need to do. All you have to do is execute. What are your thoughts on that?
That was brilliant because it was just one-to-one calls, and then
Mhm.
obviously course modules which we filled out, which we go through first, and then it was like kind of one-to-one calls. So you're kind of like guided through every step of the way. So even like if there was a conversation that I was struggling with, I could just even send you it, like text you it and then send you it,
Yeah.
just take a picture, and then you would just give me how to respond to it. But like so, in that sense, it was brilliant because just to know that there's somebody there kind of walking you because as soon as you get into anything and you don't really know much about it, it's quite it's can be a bit confusing and a bit daunting.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Having somebody behind you literally like kind of borderline walking you like
Yeah.
holding your hand throughout the entire process is a game changer and like up until this point I have also kind of learned that it's like there's no better option than to just like pay somebody who has done it, right?
Yeah,
Or
just
like
invest. Like I think for the future, I'll be investing in whatever else I want to do. Like even if it's just
yeah,
this like, a wee skill, I would just invest because it shortens the time to learn a skill, and then there's benefits that come with it even other than that.
exactly. And it's funny how that goes, right? It's like you make one really good investment and then like, turns everything around for you. And it's like you kind of
Mhm.
get hungry and like you just want to go on to the next thing. Because that's the name of the game, right? It's like just development overall. Whether
Yeah,
it's skill sets or just mindset or whatever else, right? Like learning how to be a really good leader. It really just kind of comes down to all of that. So yeah, man. I mean, dude, you went from, making, like you mentioned, it was about 1,800, 2.2K maybe at your nine to
hmm
five. Now you're borderline hitting like 7K a month. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, dude, like what do you think? Like I think you had mentioned a little bit earlier that like your next steps are to become maybe management, right? Setter manager. After that,
yeah.
like what are your aspirations? Like do you eventually want to build your own? Do you feel like you're provided with the actual skill sets to do that if you wanted to down the line?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think the the opportunities are kind of endless. What you want to go down now as well. I think personally, I'm kind of going back down the kind of e-com side, because that's just something that really is my passion. So,
Yeah,
it's always good to work with something that you're kind of passionate about. But that'll be like
yeah,
future, and just
yeah.
slowly get into that. But definitely moving up to kind of top setter, probably soon, like start of next year maybe.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
so it's
Yeah.
brilliant. But then and then going to Brazil in January. So going over there in January, so that'll be
Wow.
cool. Going to live.
And when you moved to, I remember we were kind of going over that a little bit. Like it was a couple of different options were up in the air, like Thailand. Brazil works out a little bit better because of the time zone, correct?
Time zone, yeah.
Yeah. And how long do you plan on staying out there, or is it just like until you want to come back home, basically?
Yeah, just a kind of one way flight. I think I'm going to Brazil, then Argentina, and then see what happens.
That's awesome, man. Dude, like that's really the life that a lot of people are after. And unfortunately, like as much as I like being a part of this industry, it's just those like bad apples that like really mislead people to think that it's in their best interest to like start this super complex business. So,
Yeah,
I urge you guys, if you guys are watching, like definitely take a page out of Mac's book because he kind of came to that realization and look where you're at now, bro. Going to Brazil in January, Argentina after.
yeah,
Like, I'm super excited for you, bro. I have no doubt in my mind within the next couple of months, there's gonna be a $10,000 a month that you're gonna be celebrating pretty soon. So
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, man. Any last minute thoughts that you want to say about like anybody who's like watching this, maybe on the verge of like deciding to join, or if they don't want to join, whatever that might be? What do you think?
I would just to be successful, you need to take risks, and obviously investing in anything can be a risk, but it's probably the best risk and best return on investment you'll have. It's a calculated return on investment. I think I had it's been now like a 5x return on investment or something for your program, so and it's only been 5 months, so it's pretty decent.
Pretty good ROAS, right? Am I
Uh,
right? Well, this is a good
yeah,
ROAS. You don't have to spend any on ads or anything like
yeah,
that.
it's literally ROI, but
Yeah.
I would just invest in. Yeah, because it was as soon as I jumped on the call with you, like I even said, I was like, you are who like I would invest into because I can tell that you've got my best interests at heart. So it was just a kind of genuine, and obviously your network as well played a huge part in my success as well. So
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, sick, man. Dude, Mac, I appreciate you hopping on this call. For those who are watching, we were going back and forth trying to set it up, and Mac's just
yeah,
super busy with what he has going on. So it was a pleasure having you on here nonetheless, dude. I'm super proud of like where you've gone from when we first started, and I'm glad to have been a part of your journey, dude. I know, again, like I mentioned, 10K a month is right around the corner. It's just a matter of when, not if. Cool.
yeah, so,
Cool. Yeah, I'll go ahead and end it off. If you guys are watching this video and again, you want my one-on-one help, you want somebody behind you to literally hold your hand throughout the entire process, you want to build a really high value network that is going to take care of you eventually, then you guys know where to find me. Link is in the description. Mac, again, appreciate you hopping on, man.
you too.